So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. So today we go from Group 21. Would like to talk about crime of interpersonal violence. So let's move to agenda. Before that, my name is Muhammad Akil Amshar, and this is my friend. He is from Melaka, and his name is Muhammad Alif. So there are four main topics that we would like to talk today. The first one is crime as deviance, assault and murder, domestic violence, and the last one is forgivable rape and society's reaction. So let's move to the next part. Crime as deviance. Deviance is structured behavior, it's not random. Instead, deviance is related to the social conditions people find themselves in and the social position they employ. The second point, deviance is related to some of the most fundamental features of social life: age, sex, social life, the social class, and residence. It is the relationship between deviance and social life that occupy our attention here. So dekat dua point ni dia terangkan deviance ni dia bukan tingkah laku yang berstruktur. Dia is structured behavior. Deviance ni ialah tingkah laku yang berstruktur, bukan tingkah laku yang rawak, random. So dekat poin kedua, dia bagi tahu yang deviance ni dia hubung kait dengan beberapa ciri paling asas dalam hidup. Contohnya kat sini lah, yang dia bagi tahu kat sini: umur, jantina, tempat tinggal dan sebagainya. So benda-benda macam ni lah yang kita akan ambil bahagian pada hari ini, yang kita akan bincang pada hari ini. The third point, crime is one of the most widespread form of deviance, and this chapter introduces the subject by dealing with major forms of illegal interpersonal violence: murder, assault, and rape. Kat sini dia beritahu yang crime ni salah satu deviance yang paling meluas, sekali lah. So dalam chapter ni kita akan kita akan bincangkan tentang the major form of illegal interpersonal violence yang paling major. So yang paling benda tu adalah murder, assault and rape. So ni kita akan bincangkan kejap lagi. Criminologists often break down criminal activity into three categories: common law crimes, white collar crimes, and adolescent violation. The law generally treats a person below the age of 18 who commits the crime as a delinquent rather than a criminal. But this difference does not imply that juvenile delinquency is comparable to adult criminality in all respect but age. So kat sini dia bagi tahu yang ahli kriminologi ni akan membahagikan aktiviti kriminal ni kepada tiga kategori. Yang pertama, common law crimes, undang-undang biasa. Yang kedua adalah white collar crimes, undang-undang kodok putih, jenayah kodok putih. Yang last sekali, adolescent violation ni delinquency yang kita pernah belajar sebelum ni. So yang kat bawah ni dia beritahu yang undang-undang kita ni biasanya akan mengkategorikan penjenayah yang umur 18 tahun dan ke bawah sebagai as a delinquent. Dia akan kategorikan sebagai delinquency, bukan kriminal. Tapi antara delinquency dengan kriminal ni, dua-dua ni dia sama je sebenarnya, kecuali by age, kecuali daripada faktor umur. Okay, so let's move to the next part.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Alif and I want to present about assault and murder. Okay, first point is, in every violent personal crime, the offender tries to accomplish some objective through violence. Common objective involve causing an argument, winning a personal dispute, or forcing sexual intercourse or unwilling partner. So dekat sini point dia, setiap yang penjenayah tu dia mesti selesaikan apa yang dia nak. Maksudnya dekat situ dia kata accomplish, maksudnya dia kena settlekan apa yang dia patut buat. Okay. Yang kedua, police agency compile more limited information about assault. Since many assault like property crimes go unreported, society never learns about every crime committed, if only because victims and witnesses do not report some crimes to the police. Okay, untuk poin yang kedua ni dia mengatakan bahawa pihak polis tidak mendapatkan maklumat yang cukup lah mengenai jenayah yang dilakukan. kerana disebabkan oleh sesetengah masyarakat yang tidak mahu mereport masalah ini kepada pihak polis kerana mungkin mereka merasakan ketakutan ataupun diancam oleh penayang ni lah. Okay, yang ketiga, most murder and aggravated assault represent violent response to social interaction between one or more parties. These crimes result when the situation acquire definition that call for violence. Okay, number 4, such an act of violence may result from a single argument or dispute, or it may complete a long series or dispute between intimates such as husband and wife, lovers, close friend or fellow friend. So kat sini boleh mengatakan bahawa violence ni boleh berlaku di antara persekitaran kita lah, di mana hubungan intim seperti suami isteri ataupun tempat kerja, kawan-kawan ataupun pasangan kekasih lah. Okay, point yang terakhir adalah along with violence tied to specific social situation and power differentials, some violent crime result when certain people characteristically result to violence in various situation in circumstance. Okay, next saya akan pass kepada Akil lah.
So the next part is domestic violence. Kalau ada yang tak tahu, domestic violence ni keganasan rumah tangga. Cerita dalam rumah punya isu lah. So yang poin pertama tu dia cakap child abuse ni or maltreatment, benda ni dia dikategorikan dalam semua aspek. Tak kisahlah dia emotional treatment ke, sexual abuse ke, apa ke, semua dikira sebagai child abuse ataupun maltreatment ni. So as long as tengok ayat 11 tu, potential harm to the child's health. Apa-apa yang mempunyai potensi untuk harm child's health, dia dikategorikan sebagai child abuse or maltreatment tu. So point yang kedua, any family member can become the victim of family violence. Although children and wife suffer this assault more often than fathers and husbands. About 95% of the victims of serious forced abuse are women because larger and stronger men commit more dangerous abuse. So dalam poin yang kedua, dia bagi tahu dalam satu rumah kan ada abang, adik, ibu, ayah, semua tu kan. So mana-mana family member boleh jadi mangsa kekanasan rumah tangga ni lah. Kanak-kanak, isteri, antara watak yang paling tinggi sekali kena menjadi mangsa keganasan rumah tangga ni. So dalam poin yang ketiga, dia beritahu mengikut kajian 95% dalam keganasan rumah tangga, mangsa dia adalah daripada kalangan wanita. Sebab apa? Sebab kat sini dia beritahu sebab lelaki ni larger and stronger. Bukan nak kata wanita tu tak kuat, lemah ke apa, cuma ni lelaki dia lebih besar dan lebih kuat dalam satu rumah tangga tu lah. So next point, elderly people sometimes experience abuse in nursing homes or while living with younger family members. A rate of abuse of 4 to 6% among older people if physical, psychological and financial abuse and neglect are included. Because aging skin bruise easily and elderly people fall rather than often, evidence of some physical injury does not provide sufficient proof of abuse. An accused abuser can always propose alternative explanation for physical injuries. So dalam poin yang keempat ni dia bagi tahu. So tadi kita dah cerita pasal kanak-kanak, kita dah cerita pasal ibu, wanita. So sekarang kita cerita pasal orang yang lebih tua, atuk dan nenek kita. Keganasan rumah tangga ni pun berlaku dekat diorang. So commonly diorang akan berlaku keganasan rumah tangga ni dekat nursing home, dekat rumah-rumah jagaan, ataupun while living with younger family members, ataupun kadang-kadang ada yang atuk nenek kita duduk dengan poksu kita yang lebih muda kan. So keganasan rumah tangga kebiasaannya berlaku pada ketika itu. So dalam poin yang last, dia beritahu sebabkan orang-orang tua ni, kalau kita pasal atuk dan nenek kita, badan dia ada macam lebam-lebam. Dia macam kan nak hitam sini, hitam situ, hitam sini, macam bergaduh semua kan. Satu badan bergaduh, macam gangster. So elderly people fall rather often. So orang tua ni lebih kerap jatuh lah berbanding orang muda kan. Sikit-sikit jatuh, masuk tandas jatuh, itu jatuh, sini lebam, sana lebam. So sebabkan lebam-lebam ni, orang-orang yang melakukan keganasan rumah tangga Dia senang lari, dia senang apabila buat perbicaraan ke apa, dia senang cakap, oh lebam ni bukan sebab aku sepak, lebam ni sebab dia jatuh tandas minggu lepas, lebam ni bukan aku buat kan. So dia senang lari, dia propose alternative explanation, dia ada banyak alternative explanation dia tu. So let's move to the next one.
Okay, next part is Fosiborek lah. Macam kita tahu yang Fosiborek ni macam kata rumus dari paksaan betul. Okay, first point, Fosiborek, another category of interpersonal violence, result when one person unlawfully compels another to engage in sexual intercourse against the victim's will. Maksudnya kat sini dia buat rogol tu secara tanpa paksaan dua-dua belah pihak. Maksudnya satu pihak saja yang buat, maksud lelaki tu, perempuan tu tak reda. Gitu. Okay, seterusnya, most rape statistics also include sexual assault without actual intercourse or attempts to commit rape by force or threat of force. Okay, the threat of rape seriously concerns a large number of women. Many women recognize the possibility of sexual assault in many social situations, and this awareness leads them to take precautions at times when men would not think about crime prevention. So kat sini Fosiborek ni banyak terjadi dekat perempuan lah. Dia boleh jadi dekat mana-mana tempat, tempat sosial. Contoh paling rendah dekat LRT kan, kita berapat-rapat macam-macam boleh jadi, kita tersentuh ke apa, kita tak tahu kan, tak rasa betul sebab dah terlampau ramai. And then kat situ pun menyatakan men would not think about crime. Maksudnya kat situ orang kata lelaki ni nampak je baik tapi tak semuanya baik. Bila dah nafsu menguasai diri, dia boleh buat apa benda yang dia lakukan. Termasuklah saya pakai sokok ni kan, contoh. Contoh jangan ambil serius lah. Okay, seterusnya, the victim of this sexual assault know their attackers, who usually rape them after death or other social occasions that the couple attend. Ni bahaya sikit lah kepada yang ada couple-couple ni. Biasalah dia duduk dalam kereta ke, orang kata ke lobby mana-mana, mesti nafsu membuat-buat betul lah. So boleh jadi benda-benda yang tidak sepatutnya lah. Kata bila ada yang kedua, mesti ada yang ketiga, syaitan. Okay, seterusnya, the conventional view depict rape as a crime committed by men against women, but men can be raped as well. In other instance, the offender is usually male. Like rape against women, male rape often remain hidden from the police by reluctance to report the crime. So kat sini bukan saja perempuan saja yang selamat, padahal lelaki pun tak selamat. Badan sador-sador pun boleh kena rogol juga kan, susah juga macam tu. Boleh kata gay ya. Okay, seterusnya, many observers regard Fosiborek as a political act because it reflects an exercise of power by one group males over another female. Ni bahaya sikit lah kita nak ulas pasal politik. Macam-macam boleh jadilah, orang kata kita bermusyawarah politik bagai habis. Mulalah kontroversi yang terjadi kan. Okay, the last one is that is an emotionally upsetting and deeply humiliating experience for the victim. Victim often encounter a strong stigma even within their own family, although attitudes are now slowly changing. So Fosiborek ni dia membawa banyak perubahan pada attitude seorang lah. Contoh kata perempuan tu pada dia, orang kata dia lebih bersemangat. Bila dia jadi macam ni, dia lebih, orang kata apa, lemah semangat. Nak berjumpa dengan orang pun seganan. Orang kata lagi teruk, dia bila dah mengandung anak luar nikah, so maruah keluarga, nama dia pun tercala, dia pun maruah dia pun tercala betul. Okay, next lepas tu Akid.
So the next part is society's reaction. Society expressed an extremely severe reaction to murder, aggravated assault and forcible rape by enacting strict laws. Legal penalties include lengthy prison terms and under some circumstances execution. Terbelit sikit tak apa kan. So kita tengok pada reaction to murders. Murders ni, most murders display the weakest identification of all offenders with sociological standards for criminality. People who commit murder in the course of personal dispute do not conceive of themselves as criminals and rarely are the recidivists. So kita sambung kat sini. So kita fokus kat sini. Society should focus on preventing violence, however, rather than reacting once it occurs. So kat point yang ni, macam bab kata pepatah Melayu lah, sediakan payung sebelum hujan. Mencegah lebih baik daripada mengubati. Sebab kita kena fokus dekat how to kita nak prevent violence ni, daripada kita fikir macam mana aku nak buat apabila aku dah kena jadi mangsa. So kat bawah ni, parent must work hard to counteract violent image children see in the mass media and in their everyday life, especially those who live in inner city areas. So ibu bapa mengambil tanggungjawab besar untuk pastikan anak-anak dia tak tengok sangatlah benda-benda ganas ni kan. Macam lagi-lagi yang especially those who live in inner city areas. So bila dia duduk kat bandar, anak-anak dia mudah access, ada handphone, ada iPad, ada tablet. So dia mudah access benda-benda ganas ni. Alangkah dari game pun ada benda-benda ganas. Macam game-game bunuh, ada yang game yang bunuh polis kan. Sap. Budak-budak suka sedap dapat bunuh polis kan. Tapi benda tu efek bila dia besar nanti. Dia punya creativity thinking tu akan jadi macam tu lah. Bila dia nampak polis, real life kan, memang nak bunuh dia polis kan. So yang last kali, offenders convicted of forcible rape often face long prison sentences, and those who inflict seriously physical injuries on their victims serve even longer terms. Rape victims also experience considerable psychological injury. This consideration all justify a strong societal reaction against rapists. So kat poin yang kat sini dia bagi tahu yang orang-orang yang terlibat dengan kes rogol semua ni, dia akan menghadapi tempoh masa yang lama penjara tu. Tetapi those who inflict serious physical injuries, siapa-siapa yang terlibat dengan kes-kes physical injuries ni, dia punya penjara tu even more longer. So dia even longer terms. So dia akan, hukuman itu akan lebih panjang. So let's move to the next part.
Okay, we reach to the last point or summary. First point is crime or violence inspire more fear among the general public than most other crimes. These offences, including murder, aggravated assault and forcible rapes, involve attack or threatened attacks on a victim's person. So kat sini crime or violence ni diinspirekan oleh general public lah. Then dia akan melakukan macam-macam aktiviti macam yang kita cakap tadi, forcible rape, involve attack, or yang paling teruk dia akan mengancam lah mangsa-mangsa yang dia telah lakukan tu. Itu yang paling teruk lah. Okay, point tu is official police statistics have generally reported increase for crimes in these categories through the past decade, although victimization surveys suggest relatively stable rates of homicide and rape. Point 3, offenders likely come from young, lower class, minority male population of inner city communities. Victims likely come from similar groups. Statistics depart on murder and aggravated assault as typically unplanned crimes tied to particular emotional circumstances and use of chemical substances such as alcohol and drugs. So offender ni datangnya daripada orang-orang remaja lah, ataupun golongan-golongan bawahan, dan di kalangan orang kata apa, lelaki, paling dia punya minoriti lah. Okay, seterusnya, family relationship may also lead to instances of interpersonal violence. Family violence has generated much national attention in recent years. Although this episode can victimize husband, more concern and policy effort have worked to prevent wife, children and elderly people from becoming victims. So dekat sini pun tak semestinya interpersonal violence ni berada di luar, tapi ini juga berada di kalangan kita punya family juga, macam suami kita ke, isteri kita ke. Tapi yang jadi masalah ni lebih kepada suami lah, yang jenis panas baran kan, macam tadi tengok SSBC ke, macam itulah. So violent offenders receive several penalties from the criminal justice system, while police eventually learn of most instances of homicide. They never receive report of some violent crime, such as forcible rape, since many victims hesitate to reveal this crime. So kat sini memaklumkan bahawa polis memang kurang dapat maklumat ataupun orang kata report lah daripada mana-mana victim yang kena rogol paksaan ke ataupun kena culik ke, kerana mungkin diorang merasakan, alamak bila aku report mesti ada orang akan nampak aku, ada orang akan orang kata apa, target aku, orang kata apa, ancam keluarga aku ke ataupun diri aku. So tu yang dia tak nak buat report tu. Benda tu jadi masalah kepada pihak polis untuk membantu siasatan mereka. Okay.
So let's move to the last part. question and answer part, Q&A session. So anybody here have question to ask us? Okay. Anybody? Okay, Kasim.
I want to ask, can you tell again how many categories in criminology?
Okay, thank you for asking, Kasim. How the question is how many categories in criminology? Okay, in the slide we put the three. The first one is criminal law. The second one is white collar crimes, and the third one is elderson violations. Okay. Thank you, Kasim.
So for asking question, I would like to give you some gift present. Let's take here. So I think in many group, our team present is the most pricey. Let's watch. And egg. So you can cook tonight. Eat egg with sprout. So anybody here have another question? Okay.
It's for forcible rape. You said that the forcible rape is large number of women, and they usually know who is their attacker. How do they know? Saya cakap yang Rogo Baksa ni kebanyakan daripada perempuan, dan selalunya mereka tahu siapa attacker dia orang. Jadi macam mana dia orang tahu?
So kebiasaannya berlaku kes-kes rogol ni, dia tak adalah macam contoh contoh perempuan jalan-jalan kan, pergi, dia jarang lah, bukan tak ada, jarang. Perempuan pergi jalan-jalan dekat mall, tiba orang radio datang, "Oi, aku nak rogol kau." Jarang, benda-benda tu jarang berlaku. Biasanya kes-kes rogol ni, lelaki ni dia aim, kebiasaannya dia aim. So dengan orang-orang yang kita kenal, betul. Even worse, dia daripada kalangan family kita sendiri. So kita boleh, macam contoh, kita balik kampung ke pakcik-pakcik kita, suspicious lah pakcik-pakcik aku ni kan. Lain macam lah, aku dengan dia hubungan biasa-biasa je kan, tapi dia layan aku macam lain kan. So perempuan-perempuan ni boleh cam orang-orang tertentu yang suspicious lah. So dia boleh berhati-hati. So Alif, can you pass the present? Maybe not egg.
Maybe not.
Because if all of you take egg, I want to eat what? So, air kotak. Alright, anybody else have question here? So I give some 10 seconds. If anybody have question, you can come front and ask us any question. We can ask, we can answer correctly. With proud. Alright, if not, Alif would like to ask you back some question. If you guys can answer, raise your hand and come front.
Thank you, my brother. Okay, my question is, what is related to deviance in the social life? The answer in the first slide. Faster. What is related to deviance in the social life? Yeah. What is it? Dia bodoh. Okay,
Clap,
Give a
clap.
clap, 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 clap.
The answer is deviance is related to some of the most fundamental factors of social life, like age, sex, social class, and residence. It is relationship between deviance and social life that occupy our attention here.
Congratulations. What do you want? You woman, I think I can give you some to cook lah, you know. This one, special for you lah. This is good right now. Thank you. Okay, another one. Last question. Why police agency compile more limited information about some cases or assault? What is it? What is it? Ulang balik. Why police agency compile more limited information about some cases or assault? Kita beli besar habis.
Because society never learn about every crime commit and witness will not report some crime to the police.
Good job. Take this one. This is special for you, man. Yeah. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.